Hello everyone. You are watching Forwards and Futures with Ravindra Hegde. Friends, today let us understand the kinds of futures and forward contracts and also some of the important terminologies used in forwards and futures. As per the Indian Forward Contract Act 1952, different kinds of forward contracts can be done like hedge contracts, transferable specific delivery contracts, we do call it as TSD also, and non transferable specific delivery NTSD contracts. Hedge contracts are freely transferable and do not specific any particular lot, consignment, or variety of delivery. So these are freely transferable and do not specify any particular lot. And transferable specific delivery contracts, on the other hand, they are freely transferable from one party to the other party, but are concerned with a specific and predetermined consignment. Here, the delivery is mandatory, and non-transferable specific delivery contracts, as the name indicates, are not transferable at all, and as such, they are highly specific. They may concern with specific variety or consignment of goods, or their terms may be highly specific, and the delivery in this contract is mandatory at the time of expiration. And now let us talk about types of future contracts. There are many types. Let us talk about single stock futures, index futures, commodity futures, currency futures, and interest rate futures. Single stock futures, it is an agreement to buy or sell shares or stock such as Microsoft, Intel, ITC, or Tata Steel at a point in the future. The buyer has an obligation to purchase shares or stock, and the seller has an obligation to sell shares or stock at a specific price at a specific date in the future. Thus, a stock future contract is a standardized contract to buy or sell a specific stock at a future date at an agreed price. Single stock futures contracts are completed via offset or the delivery of actual shares at expiration. Margin on a single stock futures contract is expected normally to be 20% of notional value. And remember, each stock future contract is standardized. Friends, now let us move on to the index futures. A contract for stock index futures is based on the level of a particular stock index such as S&P 500 or the Dow Jones Industrial Average or Nifty or BSE Sensex. The agreement calls for the contract to be bought or sold at a designated time in the future. Just as hedgers and speculators buy and sell futures contracts based on future prices of individual stocks, they may, for mostly the same reasons, buy and sell such contract based on the level of a number of stock indexes. Stock index futures may be used to either speculate on the equity market's general performance or to hedge a stock portfolio against a decline in value. Unlike commodity futures or individual stocks, stock index futures are not based on tangible goods. Thus, all settlements are in cash. Because settlements are in cash, investors usually to meet liquidity or income requirements to show that they have money to cover their potential losses. Stock index futures are traded in terms of number of contracts. Each contract is to buy or sell a fixed value of the index. The value of the index is defined as the value of the index multiplied by the specified monetary amount. In Nifty 50 futures contract traded at the National Stock Exchange NSE, the contract specification states the formula looks like one contract is equals to 50 units of Nifty 50 into value of Nifty 50. Here the units is standardized by the exchange. For example, if you assume that Nifty 50 is quoting at 11,500, so this is the price as of today, October 5, 2020, 11,500. The value of one contract will be equal to 50 quantities into, that is the lot size, into 11,500. That comes to 5,75,000. And commodity futures, it's a contract to buy or sell commodities at a specific date in the future at a particular price. The commodities are traded in MCX, means Multi Commodity Exchange of India, and NCDEX, that means National Commodity and Derivatives Exchange Limited. Example, NCDEX is Jeera, NCDEX is coriander, MCX gold 1 kg, MCX silver, MCX natural gas, London coffee, US cocoa, US wheat. See, if you go to the Google or if you visit the NSE or BSE website, and if you type commodity futures, you will get all the ideas what are the commodities are traded now. Currency futures. It is an agreement between two parties to exchange one currency for another at a fixed exchange rate on a specific date in the future. They are also called forex futures. Example, dollar to rupee and rupee to dollar. Next type is the interest rate futures. It is an agreement to buy or sell a debt instrument at a future date for a fixed for a price fixed today. In this type, the future securities traded are interest bearing instruments like T-bills, bonds, debentures, euro dollar deposits, and municipal bonds, notional gilt contracts, short term deposit futures, and treasury note futures. We also have some other type called bond index futures also. These contracts are based on particular bond indices, that is indices of bond prices. Municipal bond index futures based on municipal bonds are traded on CBOT. CBOT means Chicago Board of Trade. CBOT, Chicago Board of Trade. And another type is a cost of living index future. They are based on inflation measured by CPI, Consumer Price Index, and WPI. These can be used to hedge against anticipated inflationary pressure. Next, let us see the players in the futures market. We already discussed about in the previous video who is hedger, who are called as speculators, and who are known as arbitrators. Now let us see about kinds of future orders. There are a lot of types. One is market order. They are just buy or sell the orders with no restrictions. With no restrictions. They are standardized. And next is the limit orders. It is one where the customer specifies a limit price. For a buyer, the limit price is the maximum price he is willing to pay, and for a seller, it is the minimum price she is willing to accept. So, in limit order, it is one where the customer specifies a limit price. I need this much of amount. Okay, seller says, I need this much of price. Okay. So for buyer, the limit price is a maximum price that he or she is willing to pay, and for a seller, it is the minimum price she is willing to accept. Next, stop orders. It is an order that becomes a market order once the market price for the contract reaches a specified price limit, and this price is called as stop price. So it is an order that becomes a market order once the market price for the contract reaches a specified price limit. So you will tell the contractor or to the exchange that you purchase this order whenever it reaches to that amount. Stop buy orders and stop sell orders are the two types. Stop buy orders are the orders to buy as soon as the stop price is reached, and stop sell orders are the orders to sell as soon as the stop price is reached. I hope you understood the difference between stop buy order and stop sell order. Stop buy orders are the orders to buy as soon as the stop price is reached, and stop sell orders are the orders to sell as soon as the stop price is reached. Next, MIT order, market if touched orders. Market if touched orders. It is one that must be executed at the best possible price once a trade occurs at a price at least as favorable as a specified limit price. The limit price is, friends, typically below the market price for an MIT buy order and above it for an MIT sell order. It is one that must be executed at the best possible price once a trade occurs at a price at least as favorable as specified limit price. This is called as MIT, market if touched orders. Next type is stop limit orders. It's a stop order that becomes a limit order once the stop price is reached. That's why it's called as stop limit orders. Next you have spread order. It involves simultaneous long and short positions in two future contracts. We will come to know pretty soon regarding the meaning of long and short positions in detail in the next videos. Next is the OCO order. One cancels the other. One cancels the other. In OCO orders, the investor places two simultaneous orders on the same contract with the understanding that the execution of one cancels the other order. So there is an understanding The investor places two simultaneous orders on the same contract with the understanding that the execution of one order cancels the other order. So this type of order is called as one cancels the other, OCO order. Next one is market on close or market on open order, MOC or MOO order. A market on close, it's also called as MOC, is an order that will be filled during the closing seconds of the market at whatever price prevails then. So whatever the price, that order will be taken place. And its twin is the market on open or MOO order, which is filled at the best available price in the opening range. So these are the types of the orders. Friends, now let us look at the three daily prices for each futures contract. There are three types of prices. One is opening price, second closing price, third one settlement price. The opening price is the first price at which the contract is traded at the beginning of a trading session, and the closing price on the other hand is the last price at which a contract is traded at the close of a trading session. And moreover, the settlement price is a representative price from the closing range chosen by the exchange, and more interestingly, it is the official closing price of the exchange. Understood? The settlement price is official closing price of the exchange. Now let us talk about price ticks and the price limits. Exchanges place limits on the minimum amount by which prices can move up or down, and this amount is known as tick. So it is the minimum movement in the prices of a trading asset. The tick varies from contract to contract. Let me give you an example. Let us assume that a stock has a tick size of rupees 0.10 and say it was last trading at rupees 100. So based on this, the ideal bid prices for the stock may be rupees 99.90 or 99.80 or 99.70 and so on, because this is the tick size. 0.10 is the tick size, and if you say a bid price is rupees 99.84, and that is the inconsistent and invalid because it does not meet the tick size of the stock. Friends, the future prices are expressed in currency units with a minimum price movement, and this is called as a tick size. This means that future prices must be rounded to the nearest tick, and the difference between the future price and the cash price of the asset is known as the basis. Daily price limits are the maximum level by which a security can rise or fall during a trading session. Exchanges establish the maximum limits and vary from contract to contract. Next, let us talk about delivery and the settlement procedure. Each futures contract is associated with a specific maturity month. For assets involving physical delivery, delivery can often take place at any time during the delivery month. And there are three ways in which future contracts are settled. One is physical delivery, second cash settlement, and third one is EFP, exchange for physicals. Most of the futures contracts are settled in cash by having the short or long to make cash payment on the difference between the futures price at which the contract was entered and the cash price at expiration date. See, this is done because it is inconvenient or impossible to deliver sometimes the underlying asset. And this type of settlement is very much popular in stock indices future contracts. And if you want to explain the delivery, the futures contracts are executed on the expiry date. The counterparties with a short position are obligated to make delivery to the exchange, whereas the exchange is obligated to make delivery to the longs. The period during which the delivery will be made is set by the exchange, which varies from contract to contract. And another feature of a future contract is that when a person enters into a contract, he is required to deposit funds with the broker, which is called as margin. The exchange usually sets the minimum margin required for different assets, but the broker can set higher margin limits for his clients, which depend upon the credit worthiness of the clients. And the basic objective of the margin account is to act as collateral security in order to minimize the risk of failure by either party in the futures contract. Now let us talk about position limits. Exchanges and regulators establish limits on the maximum number of speculative positions in a single investor may hold at a time. The main purpose is to prevent any one trader from exercising excessive influence over the price. Now let us talk about the clearinghouse and contract performance. In the futures contract, the exchange clearinghouse is an adjunct of the exchange and acts as an intermediary or middleman in futures. It gives the guarantee for the performance of the parties to each transaction. The clearinghouse has a number of members, all of which have offices near to the clearinghouse. So the clearinghouse is the counterparty to every contract. Since the future contracts are performed through a particular exchange, so at the close of the day of trading, each contract is marked to market. For this, the exchange establishes a settlement price, and this settlement price is used to compute the profit or loss on each contract for that day, and accordingly, the members' accounts are credited or debited. Clearinghouse Corporation is a separate legal entity from the exchange corporation, and members of the clearinghouse are called clearing members, and they are responsible to the clearinghouse for contract performance. If an investor on an exchange defaults and his margin balance is inadequate to cover his losses, the clearing member who cleared that investor's contract is first held responsible for the defaulted amount. Friends, this is about the types of future and forward contracts, and some of the important terminologies used in the future and forwards. Thank you so much. Have a nice time.